Continuing the tune up of the BSA Meteor Mk. That's the very early one. This is part 2. You can see from the previous one we've put a new breech seal in there. Heavy duty one to take the extra pressure. We're trying the piston for fit. Usually these are a little bit on the loose side, but this one's come up a little bit too tight. So when you get it a bit tight, all you do is wrap some wet and dry around it. How many sheets I've got here? Just got one sheet. You can wrap it round it, and with a rotating motion backwards and forth, you slowly take a little bit off. You don't want to take too much off, just take a little bit off at a time until you get a fit that just drops in the cylinder. And keep trying it. Nearly there. Make sure you don't start shaving anything off. Yeah, it goes past all right. Now you can see it's got easier. That's because the cylinders are not 100% parallel. You can see it's loose now. It's gone tight again. And loose again. But as long as this bit's reasonably parallel, you're okay. I'll pull that out now and clean it up. And then I'm going to degrease the cylinder and the piston. As you can see, there's a bit of muck in there. And to degrease it, you can use nail polish remover. It's only cheap, and it degreases stuff really good, especially grease and stuff, oil. It eliminates pretty good. So I'm going to put on a bit of dowel with a slot in it. Right, so I've got a new piece of blue. Fold it in half tightly. Then put it in the groove of the wood. Just use a saw. Get that to go in the groove. Move it backwards and forwards, as you can see. Gradually going. Don't need it all the way down, about there, then you can rotate it. And then fold the end over. And thoroughly wet it. Make sure you're in a well ventilated area, because it's very fumy, this stuff. Get all the grease out from the very bottom, keep it spinning. Going backwards now. This will spinning it round to keep it pulling off the dowel, which it can do if you're not careful. Then I'll do it with a dry one. can open it with a screwdriver if you're finding it hard like I am, but I'm doing it outstretched. So that's what's making it more awkward for me, because I'm trying to do it in front of the camera. Holding my arms right out in front of me is not so easy. Don't need it all the way down, just a little way down, and then put it on one side, spin it round again and pull it over, make a tight fit. Keep it spinning again. You can use the acetone or nail polish remover a few times if you want, because a lot of nail varnish has got acetone in it. Do this until you get a nice clean blue cloth come out, or nice clean cloth come out. Can even turn it round the other way. That will impose the new clean bit. Then over. That feels like it's got it all now. Now we're clean off the piston. With another bit of nail polish remover. Then you put a bit of the MS40 on it, the silicone oil. Put that all round. When that's all round, you can put it back in the cylinder. Wiggling it around helps it get past them slots, and you can see if it's going to catch on them. As you can see, like, it's not catching on the slot, so it's gone past quite easy. You get it in that far, and that way round, you can put the cocking arm back in, because you're going to have to lubricate the rear with the MS2 on the back here, same as I did the LGV tune-up. On your Meteor, make sure you've got no side play like this. If that moves from side to side in a side play, you can make up a screw with a lock nut on so that you can adjust it and pull it in tight. That way it will keep its tension. Get some MS2 on the back of it first. I'm just going to use a screwdriver. This is very highly molybdenum grease for high pressure. And it's the back part here that takes the pressure, not the bottom. Although you're going to lubricate the bottom a little bit, but mostly on the top. I normally use a brush, but I'm going to use a screwdriver for the moment. And then push that down with the old spring, just to locate it. Make sure the slot is still open at the bottom. Once you get it past the end, that's it. You can now put the cocking arm back in. Bring that back to the hole lines up in the barrel. You can see it's just lining up there now. But now what you've got to do is put the detent back in. I'm going to clean it off a bit so we can lubricate it with the molybdenum. The The spring still looks alright. And put that in the detent. And you can lubricate the detent then and the end of the spring. You've got to put it back in so the pin goes in that groove at the top there. As you can see, there's a groove at the top, and that's what that little lip at the back stops it from coming out. So you've got to put that in there like that, and now you've got to squash that in. I normally push it against the bench, which I'm going to have to do outside, but you push, holding the barrel and the cylinder, push it against the bench with it like that. You can push that in, as you can see. Oh, it's going in. Then you can push your bolt in, or your pin, or your bolt if you've got an adjustable one. Put that in. I'm going to have to do that off camera. Right, I've finished with the nail polish remover at the moment. Put the cap on. Out the way. So now we've got the detent in and the barrel pivot pin in. And push the piston down home. We've still got a little gap of about 1 or 2 millimetre at the back by increasing the stroke. If yours is too close, you can grind a little bit off the back of that cocking arm. As you can see, the standard spring guide is a bit of rolled up steel, which is not too bad. They don't break as much as some of the others, but they not quite as good, so I make up a steel one, as you can see, and a better fit in the spring. Then we lubricate the spring with the MS2. I'm going to get a brush to do this. Right, I've coated the spring. I'll pull it out, it's very messy stuff. I've got an heavy coating at the back of this, where the spring guide is, and then just a coating on the rest of it. The heavy coating here is to spring dampen it a bit, so it don't get a boing when you fire it, which BSAs and most spring guns tend to do. So we now got to put it in a spring compressor and put the pin back. So again, it's another job for the workshop. But we're going to use this to go on there and push it down, and that'll still let us put the pin in through the slot there, with that facing down to fit in the spring guide, because this will fit perfectly in the spring guide like that. Well, after putting it in the spring compressor with the adapter, I've squashed it in, and now all we've got to do is put the trigger back. And there's the red big one for there. we kept this the same as it come out. Right, goes that way round, because that hooks onto the piston, and that big pin goes in there. Don't forget that little bit of plate in the middle. There's that plate there with the notches out to the lower side. So we've got to line that all up, including that spring. If I can line it up. I'll bring it to me so I can see what I'm doing. Right, I'm just lining up the spring and everything to put it in. Then line it up with a screw just to make sure it's lined up. Then I'll put the fat pin in. Wiggle it as I go. It's going. You can look at it from the other side, see what's stopping it, and then again line it up with the screw from the other side. Removing this rear pin to make it easier to put together. When you've got that pin back in, if you've got one that keeps coming out, put a bit of sellotape either side to hold it, just to stop it coming out. Now we've got that out, we can put that rear pin back in, but that spring's got to go below it. That spring there's got to go below. It's got to go below that pin. So you've got to roll that down when you put the pin through. So I'll start the pin off. Right, then hold the spring down and then push it through. Then just tap it in. So that's in and it's holding the spring there. Then you've got the trigger now to go in. The pin's got to go in there and keep that spring there. I'm going to have to pull it so I can see what I'm doing. Alright, so I've lined the hole up with the trigger. Put the pin in, making sure it don't fall out the other side. And now the trigger, we'll see if it cocks now. Alright, when you finally get the Meteor back together, make sure the springs are in the right place on the trigger. Now this spring now has got to go behind this pin on the side, and the other spring there from this one has got to go on that side of that pin. If you can see that, there's a spring there. I'll put a torch on it to show, make sure you can see it. Yeah, you've got the spring above it there, and the one below it just under. There's that one there, right in front of my nail. Just trying to get it as clear as I can for you, because if you don't get them in the right position, the trigger won't work. Now we've got the trigger springs in the right position, and you've got a little bit of tension on it, and you've got a 1 mil gap or more between the back of the piston inside and the cocking arm. If you can see that there, there is just about 1.5 mil in that gap there. Go and see if I can get it on the torch. Yeah, just see that gap. Now we're happy with that, we can put the metal cap on the back and then put it back in the stock. Here's the Mark 1 stock. Spring washers are still there. This one goes in the back. Make sure there's a washer in the back, like that. Yeah, now we've got that together there. We start off with putting the rear screw in. The metal washer's inset in there already, so we can just dip that up a little bit before we start the other ones. Make sure it's lined up. Start the screw off. And while it's still loose, you start the other two off, the front ones. That's the one there. Make sure the hole's lined up with the stock, with that one under the bracket underneath. And the other side. Washer's still there. It's just firming up there now, and I'll just do the other side a little bit. It's coming up firm now. Now we'll do the rear one tight. If yours tend to work loose, you can always put Loctite on them or another thread locking liquid. You just don't want them coming loose. If they come loose, you can split the stock if you're not careful. So as soon as if you ever realise that the stock screws are loose, tighten them up with some Loctite to stop them coming undone. That one's firm now. Now the other front one. The last one to do is put the trigger guard in and the wood screw. So that slots in there like that. Pull it back to the hole like that. Put the wood screw in. It's done up firm. And you can see this stroke because as soon as we start to break it, you can see, look, it's trying to push the piston back already. So we pull it back, it's cocked, so it works. So you pull it back till it's cocked, keep hold of it, put a 177 in because this is a 177, shut it, keeping it in a safe direction. A lot of difference there. It's disappeared in the wood. We'll try it again. These do like ED Wasp or the bigger pellets because it's a British gun. Stand it there again. Disappeared in the wood there. So the front of the pellet's nearly coming out the other side. It ain't split it yet though, but it's only just been put back together. So we'll now try another pellet. That gives an idea. Now see, the Hades don't go in as far as a Wasp. That's mainly because it's a bit on the loose side. Also it's a hollow point type expanding pellet, so it ain't going to work so well. I'll put that pellet there, cock it. Try it again. This wood ain't particularly soft either, so this gun's doing really well going in that far. As you can see, it's disappeared. See where it is. It was sticking out the wood before, just and the skirt was sticking out before we tuned it. So there we are. You can see the firing sequence is very sharp and quick, which is what I like about them. They do fire nice when you do that, tuning properly like that. After tuning and a bit of running in, check the power again on a chronograph to make sure it don't go over the legal limit. Although the Meteors tend not to even tune like this, but they will do up to 12. This should probably do about 11.5, I would guess. But I will put it on a chronograph and prove what it's doing later.